first started getting this type of stuff, and people were sending me all these videos, I wasn't even like, I didn't know how to take it, because I'm like, man, do people really think like this? Is this really a thing? Do they really
Do
believe it? Or are they
people
just
really
chasing
think
clout
like
for
this,
the
or are they
internet or
just
whatever?
chasing?
But now that it's starting to set in, and now that I start to see people make their informed content, and I realize it's really not that bad of a thing, because now I get to really see, like, when stuff like this happens, the event itself was bad, it was negative. But then the other part of it is that it's starting to be a blessing, because you can then uncover exactly what it is that you're dealing with, and it
You
puts you on
dealing
more and
with?
more of an edge, right? It gives you a higher alert. It makes sure that you on your P's and Q's, and that you're aware that, wait a minute, everybody is not for you. You know what I'm saying? Some people are demonic. Some
Some
people
people
do
are
want,
them.
because see, at this point, it's not Republican versus Democrat. It's not liberal versus conservative. It's good versus evil.
Shot by a gun that he voted to let that person have. I don't know, man. I'm seeing a lot of creators who I very much admire and respect, and whose views typically align with mine, saying that, well, Charlie Kirk is a hateful piece of shit, but no family should have to endure the loss of this, blah, blah, blah. And I simply do not have it in me to extend empathy to this type of person anymore. And I don't know what that says about me. And I frankly don't really, if I'm saying this right now so that you can understand who I have become, and understand that I do have much empathy in my heart for many people, but there is a level of hatefulness that certain people, and I'm not even saying the entire right, but there are certain factions of the right, the level of hatred and violence that they not only accept, but seem to appreciate. That when it comes knocking on their door, I have no empathy with it. So I'm sharing this with you now so that you can make the decision. I have no anger. If you decide that you don't want to follow me anymore, that's okay. If we you know me in real life and you want to distance yourself, so be it. That's just where I am right now. I have endured decades of empathy for people who have never given empathy to those who deserve it most, who have time and time again
They don't even know what they say.
chosen to step over
Just saying,
who are on
literally
their own
just saying.
teams for help, literally and figuratively. And it has caused a bit of a soul death in me. Not an entire.
Listen to what they saying. This is not our words. Listen to what she just said. I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna go back 10 seconds.
Literally and figuratively. And it has caused a bit of a soul death in me.
That's not my words. It's straight out of the horse's mouth. Their souls are dead. Their eyes are evil. They have nothing that they can give to society that would, you know what I'm saying? And nobody is asking. I guess, where's this coming from? Like, who's asking for their empathy? Nobody is asking for your empathy. I am actually glad that people are showing themselves and telling on themselves. Social media has been.
I'm actually
Their
glad people
souls are dead. Their
and telling on
eyes are evil.
themselves.
They have nothing that they can give to society that would, you know what I'm saying? And nobody is asking. I guess, where's this coming from? Like, who's asking for their empathy? Nobody is asking for your empathy. I am actually glad that people are showing themselves and telling on themselves. Social media has been beneficial in that way, and that it allows for people to reveal exactly who they are, what their hand is, how they gonna move, and what this is gonna look like for them going forward. I'm not complaining whatsoever. She said her soul is dead. It's a soul death. If it is the power of life and death is in the tongue, and what's in the heart, what's in your heart, and what's in your soul, it comes out to the light. And so these people are dead in the inside. The question that we have to ask ourselves is, do we want to go low with them?
Not an entire soul death, but there's a piece of it that is.
And not an entire one.
I have limited empathy, and I reserve it for the people who I love and care about, and for the people who have nothing in this world and who need someone for them. And Charlie Kirk and his family do not qualify.
And his family. And his family. They want to make sure they throw that in there too. Are y'all listening? Are y'all paying attention?
Baby, I'm gonna let you know something. What they did to that man in Utah is exactly how the people in Palestine was getting dealt with. I ain't gonna play around with you. And people, them little kids in Palestine, and stuff like that happened to them. Let alone big kabooms landing on top of hospitals and stuff like that. It's unfortunate that happened to that man, but guess what? People are fed up. People are tired of the Trump administration here in America. Farmers are losing their land. They're losing their crops. They're doing huge deportations, taking people off the job. Nobody to replace or fill these jobs. Oh yeah, Donald Trump ruined America. Sheriff right there. Donald Trump ruined America in just a matter of months with his little slimy, grimy executive orders. He ruined America. Yeah. Yep. He ruined America and don't want to release him Jeffrey Epstein files. But guess what? Why do we keep asking him to release these files? We already know if he's not going to release them, you know his name is the first person on the top of the list. And you know that. 100%.
Ain't it funny? I find it so funny that why didn't they release the files during the Biden administration's for you?
Why did they release the files during the Biden administration?
Worry, I'm not going to deep dive into it. I just want to give you all a glimpse of what's to come, what you need to gird up against, and how you need to prepare yourself, because you are battling not just a war based off of what's happening, what you can see with your eyes. The spirituality, principality, these people are evil. They are truly evil in their heart, and they are broken.
Evil in their heart,
Make sure you
and
guys
they're
have
broken.
It's in the description. Tease Family, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. I love you. I appreciate you. Tap into the Millionaire Morning Show tomorrow.
Yeah, like recently I did an interview with Eskino, and I spoke about sort of this thing that's been brewing on social media between foundational Black Americans and, like African and Caribbean Black people and so forth. And I chimed in on that. A lot of people were mad over kind of some of the takes that I took. So in fact, Tariq Nasheed is going to come on my show in a couple of days. We're going to talk about it because he's like the biggest FBA, guy that I know, not cool with, but what I was talking about, which kind of disappointed me, was there was like a American Black woman that was calling for a boycott of African braiding shops because, she feels that they are not, they're somewhat abusive and not very nice to Black people, to American Black people. So she calls for a total boycott of any store owned by. You see what I'm saying? And that to me just sort of bothered me, but I am white. I don't really know the entire nuance of everything. But then again, I have mixed children. So I'm speaking, from that point of view of I don't want my kids growing up, not liking non-American black people. I want them to have Jamaican friends and, African friends, Caribbean friends and so forth. I mean, when you see that type of thing happen as a black person, what do you think?
I think it's ridiculous. And the reason I think it's ridiculous because if me, an African, or me and a Caribbean person is walking down the street and we're melanated, in this country, they're not going to look and say, oh, that's a Jamaican, that's a foundational black American, and that's what did I say? What was that when I said African?
Yeah.
They're just going to say, those are three niggas. So it's like when you look at it from that mindset, and we all need to be trying to figure out how to have unity and group operation. Like,
that was my point.
Yeah, like, I mean, that's
because the other night, it's like, we've seen that in our community, but then there's also like, like they said, you see a lot of situations where Africans kind of look down on Black Americans, even though Black Americans have worked to kind of get, the overall Black community to a certain point and so forth. So the disrespect kind of goes both ways. And I just don't like all of it from both sides.
Mm-hmm.
Both sides I don't like. At the end of the day, what do you gain by beefing with people who look like you?
Hey, listen, once again, when you're talking about white supremacy does not care. White supremacy just sees you as a melanated person here in this country.
Right.
And they are going to treat you accordingly. So we can spend time, beefing amongst each other, but we're not each other's enemy. The real enemy is the people that are trying to oppress people of color all around the world. That's who we should be coming together to, boycott. That's who we should be coming together to take a stand against. The whole beefing with each other it doesn't make any sense to me, especially when we all, well, I'm not gonna say we all know, because I do feel like there's a lot of black people that were indigenous to America already. When you even look at a lot of pictures of Native Americans, they have like a lot of African American features. You go where I'm from in South Carolina, Geechee, Gullah, heritage, culture, like I feel like a lot of us were already here. But, also in South Carolina, we have this pier called Gadsden's Wharf. That's where the International African American Museum is built. I'm on the board of the International African American Museum.
Nice.
Damn near half of all slaves from West Africa came through that port. So I'm saying all that to say we're all kind of in the same boat. Like, I don't look at people who came from Africa as being different from me, because whether you were indigenous to this land or you can trace your ancestry like I can back to West Africa, it's too many of us that are linked to the motherland. Africa is the birthplace of civilization, period. So I'm not gonna ever look at them and be like, oh, they not one of us, and they shouldn't look at us and be like they not one of them, because when they make the decision to bring their asses to America, trust me, white supremacy is looking at them just like they're looking at my foundational black asses. So I just think unity and group operation is the way to go. I don't think we gain anything from having this kind of infighting amongst each other.
That's what it is. Charmaine, after 2 years, man, thank you for coming back.
Yes.
You just had to make it happen.
Absolutely.
And like I've done with a few of my other guests, we're about to switch positions and you're about to interview me.
Absolutely. I do want to add one thing, though. Just about the media conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say that I'm happy for Joe Bud.
Yeah, me too.
I'm looking at all the success, because you said that earlier, and that's true. I'm happy that, he figured it out. He figured it out, and he's doing things on his own terms. And I'm genuinely happy for him, And also, I want to salute the academics, because Zach is a guy who, people may not know, Zach's first interview ever.
Breakfast Club.
No, it was with me. He was in college.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And he was doing college radio, and he came to Power 105.1 to interview me. Mm. And so, I mean, that's on YouTube somewhere. So it's me and I don't know if people know that, but me and I talk. Like,
that's my man.
We catch up. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we may go a while without talking, but we always end up getting on the phone and catching up and having conversations. So I just think,
back, man.
yeah, I think that's something people don't know.
Yeah.
And so they're always trying to act like there's this beef and create these issues, and it's just like, nah. Like if these are people that I've known for a super duper long time, and like I said, me and I end up catching up. You know, me and Joe haven't caught up in years, but me and Ack end up catching up.
Dope.
Yeah.
Limo Limo at your service. To help you save hundreds by customizing your car insurance with Liberty Mutual. Probably should have gone the other way. Only pay for what you need.
I just found out the companies collect my own data, and they do it to you too, like full name, phone number, address, family members, and anyone can get this information. Upgrade helps prevent phone call and email spams. Why wouldn't you want to strengthen your digital privacy?
Look, I'm a Marvel super fan. I used to read comic books and so forth. I didn't think that Kang was a great supervillain, to be honest. And sorry, I just want to finish by saying this. I feel that Jonathan's strength is not in a superhero or supervillain kind of role.
He was good as Kang.
I feel like he's just so much. He wasn't as good as Magazine Dreams.
Well, two different roles.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like he's better at this dramatic role. You see what I'm saying? And he doesn't shy away from, like, you know, gay roles and stuff like that, because, you know, Magazine Dreams had a whole, like, a gay kind of story.
That was crazy.
Like, that was crazy.
Yeah, he walked out spitting out the trailer. He left the trailer out. Spitting on the ground like he just left a freak off.
Exactly. No, listen, when I met Jonathan for the first time at Jason Lee's Hollywood Unlocked Awards, and, you know, we got introduced, the first thing I said was, like, Oscar-worthy performance.
Yo,
Oscar-worthy performance.
If he hadn't had none of this controversy and his career was still doing what it was doing, and this movie came out, he won the Oscar for sure.
Right.
For sure.
Listen, I tweeted this recently. I said, my top 2 movies of the year so far: number 1, Magazine Dreams; number 2, Weapons.
I haven't seen Weapons yet.
Great movie.
I got Sinners my number 1.
Who?
Sinners.
I like Sinners. I didn't love it.
I love
Here's the thing. I felt that Sinners didn't quite have the originality of Magazine Dreams and Weapons. Yeah, because it's generally a vampire movie, right? Yes, it has cool, like, music sort of incorporated in it. I think it's dope the way they used, you know, Michael B. Jordan as both characters and so forth, but it was a vampire movie, right? More or less.
The ill thing about Sinners, the vampires weren't even the greatest threat in the movie.
What do you mean?
Greatest threat in the movie was white people.
What do you mean?
You forget the end scene of Sinners. The end scene of Sinners isn't them taking out the vampires. Michael B. Jordan taking out all those white people who came to kill him in the morning.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That movie represented, you know, for a moment in time, there was a group of black people who, you know, purchased this property, and they had a little bit of liberation for just a few hours. Literally, just for a few hours.
That day, that's it.
Just for a few hours. And you know what caused all of that shit to go down the drain? White people. It was a white woman. It was the white woman who ended up being a vampire that he let in and fucked her. And then it was the white people who came the next morning who, whether or not the vampires got them, the white people was going to get them.
Well, I mean, it was vampires that really ruined everything. Really think about the vampires.
Well, it was, no, I will say this. It was paleness. It was pale vampires. It's white people.
I thought Sinners was very good. I watched it twice. I went to the theaters and watched it, right? I supported the movie. Ryan Coogler, man, another genius. And the fact that he switched genres, he doesn't do horror films.
Ryan's so genius, he can literally do whatever he wants. Like him and Aaron McGruder, they have the same type of brain to me. It's the same level of creative genius. But to go back to my point, man, that is a message that I will tell every black person. I don't even like the conversation when people say things like, man, white people get to do it. Yo, you not white. I'm not trying to get in a position of power and acquire money to be evil. And I'm not saying all white people are evil. I'm just saying that's what it sounds like when they make that statement. Like, white people get to get away with that. That's not what I want. I want us to just move like the civilized kings and queens, gods and goddesses that we are. If we do that, we don't gotta worry about none of this type of stuff. Like, you know, what they say, what's the word they
about
like to
this type
say?
of stuff. Everybody.
Man, they like I'm just saying, they'll say it's a public lynching. Sure, but don't give them the rope.
We hit the jackpot. I mean, we.
You know what I'm saying? I don't gotta give you the rope. Like, I should know how to move out here. If I already know that I'm gonna be a target, why am I giving them something to target? Nobody can take me out if I'm not giving you something to take me out with. Like, you know how they say, they be like, oh, this alcohol company that Diddy was a part of,
I don't agree.
wanted to take him out.
That's conspiracy.
I do believe that's conspiracy theory, but let's just say it's true. I totally agree. I believe conspiracy theory. But if it is true, if Diddy doesn't give them anything, if they don't know Diddy has these vices and these bad habits, they can't use them against him.
Yeah, but look, people are gonna have relationships. People are gonna have sex. Like, for example, the Tyler Perry situation. You see those text messages?
That was some bullshit. That text message was some bullshit.
You think it was fake?
It's not that they were fake. It just wasn't about anything. Like, they weren't saying nothing crazy.
It was two consensual people. Now, if they're gay, they're gay. Like, I've always thought.
I didn't even see the sexual side of the text messages. I didn't see nothing sexual in the text.
See the sexual side of it.
Oh, I didn't see that. I saw the guy asking for Tyler for help, and Tyler was giving him advice.
So allegedly, one of the text messages from Tyler Perry to this guy Dixon, who was suing him, said, "We have a big dick, and we hit that G spot right on these bottoms. They go crazy."
That's fake. That's not real. Like, that's not real. Where that came from, Vlad? That's not real.
I mean, you can check text messages. Like, you can't fake a text message.
That's not
By
real.
the time it gets to court, like, you have to show, like, you could subpoena, like, the cell phone company and so forth. You can't fake it.
I didn't see that nowhere.
This one complex.
What?
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't see that nowhere.
Yeah, that's part of the lawsuit.
Yeah, I didn't see that nowhere.
Yeah. Listen, to me, this looks like a consensual relationship between two gay men, which is totally fine. I have no problems with that. I have gay friends. Shout out to Jason Lee. I have gay employees. I have never given a shit about your sexual preference.
But think about how somebody is trying, and I don't know if that's true or not, but think about how somebody can weaponize that just to get a fucking payday. So I'm just saying, you gotta move. And by the way, to your point, when you're in a position of power, you can't move like everybody else.
You text messages like that with someone that you're sexually involved in? Really?
Probably not. Not nowadays. I would learn from that if that's true.
Yeah, but look, people gonna have sex, people gonna have relations. Like, what's the big deal? Seriously, what's the big deal? So, two guys are talking about sexual stuff because they're probably having sex. So what?
But what if your lifestyle isn't out there for everybody?
Well, that's the problem. I think that with, and I've talked to people that know him and so forth, and they're like, listen, we don't know about his sexuality, and we really don't ask. At the end of the day, I feel like if, Tyler came out as gay, do you think anyone would be shocked? I mean, his claim to fame was dressing up like a woman. At the end of the day, like, nobody would be shocked.
I don't even think that matters. I think that's just art. Like, even the whole dressing up like a woman thing, man. When we were growing up, that was nobody cared. Nobody cared that
Would you be shocked if he came out of the closet? I would not be shocked.
I wouldn't give a fuck.
Exactly, but seriously, nobody would be shocked. Nobody would be shocked. Look, he has a baby and so forth. Do you see gay men who have babies and so forth? I think it's cool. Honestly, I think people would actually embrace it more. But this is the problem I think that he's probably having, because his core audience is
white apologist.
Women.
Well, specifically, what type of women?
Black women from the South that are probably into the church.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think in the church, there's a certain stigma about that.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, but it shouldn't be anymore. Yeah, like you said, how did we even get here? How did we get to this office?
I don't know. But speaking of this, it's kind of as a good.
I do want to say something though.
Yeah, go ahead.
Tyler Perry is another unsung hero. Tyler Perry, if you ask me, doesn't get celebrated enough.
Really?
I do not
feel he's extremely celebrated. He should be.
By his fans, but I think that, just the industry and culture should celebrate him more. What he's done is damn near impossible for a black man to do, but it's difficult for anybody to do. This guy has his own studio in Atlanta where Marvel even films out of. Like everything that we talk about wanting to do, you know, building your own, you know, being independent, you know, creating your own art, not having to answer nobody. He's the blueprint. Like you know, like the person that the chick Dame Dash be talking about. He really does it. He really, really does it. And his name doesn't come up enough for me when those conversations happen.
Well, I mean, you know why? What I feel is because the films he makes are not like the Oscar-worthy films. They're good films for his audience.
But you know, Tyler has some movies that have aged very well. And I think that, you know, the other thing about Tyler, it's not that he didn't start in film. He started with stage plays. Like my mother-in-law was a huge Tyler Perry fan. We would go to Blockbuster late 90s, early 2000s, picking up, you know, my Dia stage plays. When he came out with Diary of a Mad Black Woman, which was a fantastic movie, by the way, which you see memed up crazy. Now, everybody's always running with the Diary of a Mad Black Woman meme. The movie did so well because he had already laid that foundation with the stage plays. He had already made millions of dollars off the stage plays, went and did the movie, made $30 million, I think, opening weekend with Lionsgate. That was great. That movie, Daddy's Little Girl, those are some really good films when you look back at them in hindsight.
The $7,500 federal.
Cartridge, I believe, at checkout, backlash, or whatever you want to call it, to this garbage BS narrative that we've been living with for a decade, and bullying people, and getting whole DEI departments built inside of corporate America, all in the name of George Floyd. And that time is here. And people will hear this and misinterpret what I'm saying. But the white man has had it. He's been demonized. He's been called the bane of society. His accomplishments have been diminished and demonized. And when I say the white man has had it, what I really mean is the evangelical man, the man with a brain, the man who actually not pays lip service, but who actually fears God, has had it. And he is having a reckoning. And call it racial, call it whatever. But anyone who honors truth, believes in truth, is tired of the lies and the racial lies. And this whole racially idolatrous culture that has been built here in America and has stood in the way of justice and order, and creating a society that is safe for women and children. And so now the backlash is here. And people like Steven Crowder are saying what they really think, and what they really think should happen to the Carlos Brown Jr. and basically any and everyone who slightly or tries to defend or justify the savagery of the Carlos Brown Jr. I'm going to play for you a potpourri, but I'm going to start with Steven Crowder's justifiable anger. And he does it in a profane way that, I wish that he wouldn't. But his emotions, I believe, are real, and they're representative of what a lot of men feel. Let's start with Steven Crowder.
In this scenario, there's no good option. But there would be no better scenario than for us to see second 15, 16, everyone step in, and another guy get out and blow that mother away. Right? Away that piece of human shit. And stand before a judge who says, thanks for blowing that mother away. I can't believe we found ourselves here.
I can't disagree with what Steven Crowder's saying here. Here's how I would unpack it. This is what I wish Steven Crowder had said. Hey, we got a demonic culture that has been mainstreamed and platformed and shoved down our throat, any and everywhere. They used George Floyd to finish off. Mission accomplished. We've hijacked the culture and American society with our racial idolatry and this demonic culture that platforms every criminal, anybody that promotes degeneracy, deviancy, violence, drug dealing. We've mainstreamed it all. And there's a particular demographic that defines itself by this demonic culture. They call themselves, it's hip-hop, it's black culture. And they have demons running throughout their culture, terrorizing their neighborhood. And what Steven Crowder's saying is, keep that BS, demonic BS, in your neighborhood. Keep it out of mine. I'm drawing a line in the sand. Irina, I can't pronounce her last name. She's from Ukraine. I'm sorry I can't. I mean no disrespect, but, I'm not good with pronouncing names that aren't American. Irina, this little white girl, gets on a train and gets assassinated by one of these hoodie-wearing, dreadlock, face-tatted criminal demons. And I've had it. And that man should be strung up, beaten, lashed, and killed publicly to send a message to all the other demons and all the demon supporters. We've had it. We're done. All this compassion and all this, let's pretend like there's not a demonic energy running through a culture that has been created and promoted for black people. We don't want it. We don't want it from white people. We don't want it from black people. Same way, these transgenders that go in and shoot up Christians and Catholic schools, we're done with that too. All this demonic energy, we're done with. That's what I wish Steven Crowder had said. But he said it differently. I don't blame him. Not what I'm going to do or try not to do. Just trust me, I have thought about cussing from time to time. But I want to play you another one of these guys that are having their racial reckoning, and no one is surprised that Matt Walsh is having a racial reckoning and drawing a line in the sand over the Charlotte train massacre. He's been headed down this path for several years. I've been encouraging, just quite frankly, blame me, I've been encouraging white men. Have your racial reckoning. Draw a line in the sand, stand up, white men, and tell these Negroes that are demon-possessed to kick rocks. It's that time. Because we can't live this way. Here's the problem with these demon-supporting Negroes. Misery loves company. And so here's how their approach, and I'll get to playing you some Van Jones, but their approach to all of this is like, hey man, the Carlos Brown Jr., we got 3 of them in my neighborhood, and they kill daughters, our babies, our black men. White man, we want you to have a little taste of our misery. That's their mentality. Their mentality isn't like, hey, we're going to perform some exorcisms around here, and we're going to bring everybody to bow and serve Jesus Christ, and we're going to clean this mess up. That's not their mentality, because they're demon possessed. And they bought into a secular culture. They bought black culture, racial idolatry culture. And so they don't really believe in spreading the gospel. They don't believe in the Great Commission. They don't believe in taking accountability. They don't believe their situation can be fixed. And so they want you to live in the same depravity as them. And so Irina, the Lucas, or whatever her name is, we got that going on once a week on our block. Why shouldn't they get a taste of it? And so Matt Walsh and others are saying what they really, really think, and I applaud them, and I support them.
Hip-hop culture.
Because there is a solution. And before the day
And
is out,
hip-hop culture is the problem.
But before we do that, let's hear Matt Walsh as he espouses his racial reckoning.
Black people, young black males in particular, are an order of magnitude more violent and more likely to commit crimes than any other group in the country. Black men are 5 or 6% of the population. They commit the majority of murders in the country. That makes black males in America more dangerous than perhaps any other demographic in the entire world, let alone in these divisions. And we know all this despite the efforts by the FBI and every other institution to hide and bury racial crime statistics. Imagine how much worse it really is. Imagine how grisly it would look if they let us see the whole picture instead of just pieces of it. But we can see enough to know, without any doubt whatsoever, that the violent crime epidemic is driven by one demographic to an overwhelmingly disproportionate degree. And all of that has happened while you, Van, and your propagandist cohorts have spent years claiming that the reality is exactly the opposite of this. You didn't just deny that this is happening, you have the gall to claim that the opposite is happening. You paint a picture of a country where black people walk around in fear, trembling in fear of white violence, where black people are constantly tired and exhausted by the brutality inflicted upon them by the villainous whites. But those of us who you condemn as racists, no, we're the ones who are tired. We are tired of not being able to walk down the streets in our own cities. We are tired of losing good, productive citizens into the hands of violent degenerates who contribute nothing of value to society whatsoever. We are tired of the total lack of accountability and responsibility. We are tired of a system that prioritizes the restoration and rehabilitation of violent psychopaths over the protection of innocent, law-abiding people. And we are tired of pretending that all of this isn't happening. And we're just not going to pretend it.
That is the racial reckoning that's going on. And you can scream at the top, he's racist. He's taking the Black Lives Matter argument. You all went off for 10 years. And I know many of you are sitting there. It wasn't me. I didn't do it. I didn't go to the BLM protest. You didn't rebuke the BLM protest. You didn't call the 3 Marxist lesbians who started.
The 3 Marxist lesbians who started
the BLM protest. You didn't call the 3 Marxist lesbians who started.
The 3 Marxist lesbians who started. Colin Kaepernick included.
You didn't rebuke them. You didn't object. Yeah. I didn't like the Black Lives Matter movement, but I like the sentiment. Find that sentiment in the Bible anywhere. Yeah.
Seems like a
love the tree, but I love the fruit. Those two things can't stand. You cannot.
I don't like the Black
Oh,
Lives Matter
tree,
tree.
but I love the fruit.
3
I
lesbian
don't like
women.
that, but I like the
Lesbian
sentiment.
black women.
The DEI job that came from your little feeling of superiority over your white coworker, white friend, white neighbor. I'm better than you. You're evil and wicked. This is what America has done to black men forever. What happened to George Floyd?
Forever.
It was also a lie, and you knew it in real time, and you lived in the denial of it, and now here are the consequences of that denial. This was always inevitable. The numbers didn't back up the data. Oh, police had just random LeBron James. Oh, we can't even walk outside. We can't shop. We can't do this. We can't comb our hair. We can't wipe our ass without getting killed by the police.
Without getting killed by the police.
He said this. And people want Willie to say, are you insane? The stats are clear cut. Maybe 5 times a year, the police kill some resisting criminal inappropriate. Maybe. Because trust me, the George Floyd, a lie. Michael Brown, a lie. If I could sit Eric Garner, a lie. All the big dummy had to do is quit resisting, and he'd still be alive today selling cigarettes. But because there was some fruit produced by this poisonous tree of BLM, you take the fruit.
Who think like this?
Build up a whole DEI department inside every corporation and put some black woman in charge of it and put some gay black man in charge of your HR department.
Your HR department. Gay black men.
For black people. Done nothing. Destroyed our reputation and created a justifiable backlash because they got actual stats and numbers that say it's like 7 times, 8 times more likely for a white person to be attacked by a black person than a white person to attack a white person to attack a black person. They got the stats and the numbers, and yet look. Matt Walsh is exaggerating a little bit here. He's not unsafe in his neighborhood from black people. These transgenders that are upset with him and some of the woke left, you know.
The woke left.
He's not unsafe. But people are tired of living this way. It's difficult going into major cities. Look what happened in Cincinnati. 2 men had a dispute and squared up, and 6, 7 people, including black women, jump in to beat this man and some white woman, and there's no remorse. There's people defending it, and you wonder why there's a backlash. This is long overdue. It's necessary because the only way to get safety in these black communities is for Donald Trump, a white man, and the National Guard to come in and clean up some of these demons controlling our neighborhood. And so the white man has to get mad and fed up and be like, damn it, I gotta take care of these little demon kids that won't take responsibility and accountability for themselves. I gotta go send the National Guard in to clean up the demons that they're creating with their demonic culture. There are people out there who flip out, he hates black people, he hates him.
He
hates
himself.
And want them and want us to have communities that are safe and not overrun with demons that we created. And so, yes, I'm going to encourage the white man. Have your racial record. Clean this SHIT up because we won't do it. Our ministers won't do it. Black elected officials.
Black elected
Maxine
officials.
Waters.
Maxine.
Brandon Johnson.
Brandon Johnson.
Any of these big city mayors. Any of these Hakeem Jeffries. They have no interest in it. It's not a priority. They'd rather clean up Ukraine than clean up Chicago.
Clean up Ukraine. Then clean up Chicago.
Next, Joe Webbin been on this show. He put out a tape, keeping it 1,000% real, piping hot. So he's and look, I think it's exaggerated. But isn't this what black people have been doing the last 15 years? Basically telling, we got to have the talk with our kids. We have to tell them, you may get killed by the police. Baby boy. I know you're high on weed 24/7.
High on weed.
You tatted yourself up.
24/7. Tatted yourself up to be menacing as possible.
When you curse at them, when you resist arrest, when you fight with them, when you refuse to comply, baby boy, they'll kill you. You should just avoid the police at all costs. You should live in fear of police.
You should live in fear of police.
So now the telling his kids, hey, these demon-possessed Negroes, they will kill you. Avoid them.
They will kill you. These ninjas, they will kill you.
You need to have the talk. The talk that we're referencing is, look, when you go into people in our country,
he has said, I am the man.
Ninjas?
It's very difficult to hear. I don't blame him at all. He has sat and listened to black people in respected position on television say the exact thing about white people. And he's had it. So he's going to turn their words, Black Lives Matter words, all of you that softly co-sign for Black Lives Matter, refuse to rebuke Black Lives Matter, taped up and defended that clown Colin Kaepernick and all the other clowns in the NFL and the NBA took the WNBA, they all took knees. The freaking clowns in the WNBA refused to play or took knees, refused to rebuke Black Lives Matter, taped up and defended that clown Colin Kaepernick. And all the other clowns in the NFL and the NBA, took the WNBA, they all took knees.
They all took knees. Freaking clowns.
Refused to play or took knees over Jacob Blake.
Over Jacob Blake.
A man that sexually assaulted a woman.
Sexually assaulted a woman.
And these demon-possessed Negroes that have rejected God.
Negroes who rejected God. They are dangerous. Negroes, they are dangerous. They're dangerous. They're insane. They're illogical. They are dangerous. I'm not dangerous. In fact, they live in a fantasy world. That's why I'm sitting there like, Carlos Brown is mentally ill. The masterpiece is the first place on earth. And the father carried a 38. Man, the other protectors. He lived in the block neighborhood. His business was in the block neighborhood. He carried that 38. One of these demon-possessed ninjas trying to do his business. Everybody knows this. Crips and the Bloods, the Gangster Disciples, the Vice Lords, they got more bodies in the Chinese cemetery. And we were instantly pretending, oh, it's the police. They do, they're the reason why for me to go any black a nightclub. It's the fuck. They're no different than the transgenders. Terrorize on my neighbor, even though I've never seen the case in my life. MAGA supporters, go